What is the law for workers' compensation? Workers' compensation law is a rule that helps employees injured at a workplace get compensated for their damages. Employees can get compensated for damages like lost wages, medical expenses, disability payments, and rehabilitation costs through workers' compensation coverage. The system that pays you workers' compensation is administered by the state and financed by compulsory employer contributions. Workers' compensation law is designed to replace traditional personal injury lawsuits in order to remove risk for both the employee and the employer. Workers' compensation is an insurance that is made mandatory by the government. The workers' compensation law requires the injured employer to file a claim using their employer's help with a workers' compensation insurer of the employer. If the employee gets the workers' compensation claim, then she cannot sue the employer for their negligence. So, it is very useful for the employer as well. But, employers will be charged the insurance premiums even if the accident never occurs. But, in every state, the employees can be allowed to skip workers' compensation and file a personal injury lawsuit for damages. This allows the employee to file for a claim against the third parties involved in the accident that caused the injury. This usually happens when the employee has been a victim of a road accident during office hours, or when the employee has been injured by defective products sold or manufactured by another company. Employers have to keep workers' compensation insurance even for non-permanent employers in most states. Procedure: in contested cases, the validity of the employee's workers' compensation claim can be disputed either by the employer or the insurer. When the claim is disputed, the state workers' compensation board will investigate the claim and decide the validity of the claim. During contested cases, the employee will have to see a doctor who performs medical evaluations on behalf of the state. You have to be careful during this evaluation because anything you say can be used against you. The severity of your injury after the evaluation will be determined, and it will be considered when determining the validity of your claim. If the employee doesn't get favorable results, then she can appeal the decision to the Workers' Compensation Department or the state court. Workers' compensation is insurance that provides cash benefits and/or medical care for workers who are injured or become ill as a direct result of their job. Employers pay for this insurance, and shall not require the employee to contribute to the cost of compensation. Weekly cash benefits and medical care are paid by the employer's insurance carrier, as directed by the Workers' Compensation Board. The Workers' Compensation Board is a state agency that processes the claims. If board intervention is necessary, it will determine whether that insurer will reimburse for cash benefits and/or medical care, and the amounts payable. Covered employees: each state establishes its own parameters about when an employer must acquire such insurance. Some states have a rule regarding the minimum number of employees that an employer has to have in order to be required to purchase workers' compensation insurance. Other states require workers' compensation if the employer has any employees at all. States may also exclude certain industries from coverage. For example, a state may exclude agricultural workers, domestic workers, or seasonal workers from having to be covered. If such individuals are injured on the job, they may have a claim under a tort theory of liability but would not have a claim under a workers' compensation program. Additionally, independent contractors are also usually excluded. Benefits: the types of benefits that are available to an injured worker depend on the nature of the injury, state requirements, and the benefits included as part of the policy. In addition to the payment of medical expenses and wage replacement, workers' compensation may also include vocational rehabilitation, compensation for permanent injuries, and survivors' benefits. States vary as to how medical providers are assigned to the case. Many states allow employers to send the injured employee to the medical provider of their choosing. However, some states allow injured workers to visit their own healthcare providers if they formally make such a request. Federal compensation laws are administered by the U.S. Department of Labor, meaning federal employees are not covered by workers' compensation insurance or their individual state's workers' comp program. OWCP offers the same benefits to all federal employees nationwide. Another way federal programs are different than state workers' comp program is that federal agencies are immune from any public employer liability. In other words, federal employees cannot sue the federal government for a work-related injury, even if the government is negligent. If you are injured on the job, you could qualify for a wide range of workers' compensation benefits, including vocational rehabilitation, payments for time off work while you recover, compensation for any permanent disability, payment of benefits in the event of death, paid medical treatment and expenses.